This man killed at least 30 women. While he was doing it, he was a law student, a crisis counselor who talked strangers out of suicide on weekends, a political volunteer, a neighbor everyone loved, happily married, raising a kid. Funny, warm, the kind of guy you set your sister up with. He was also strangling women in the same weeks, the same months, sometimes the same days. His name was Ted Bundy, the most charming killer. While Ted Bundy was on trial for the murder of 2 women, the courtroom was full of girls who had crushes on him. They dressed up. They did their hair. They sat in the front row hoping he would look at them. One woman married him during the trial. In the courtroom, while prosecutors were describing what he did to his victims, he represented himself as his own lawyer, flirted with the jury, made the judge laugh. The same judge later sentenced him to death and said, "Take care of yourself, young man. I say that to you sincerely. It is an utter tragedy to see such a total waste of humanity."
You are a bright young man. You would have made a good lawyer, but you went another way, partner.
Theodore Robert Bundy, born 1946, Burlington, Vermont. To a mother so ashamed, she told the world he was her brother. He grew up calling his mother his sister, his grandparents his parents. The man he called Dad was the kind of man who made his family flinch when they heard his keys in the door. He kicked dogs, swung cats by their tails. A psychiatrist who later examined Bundy described his grandfather as an extremely violent and frightening individual, and Ted worshipped him. One night, his aunt woke up to find 3-year-old Ted standing over her sleeping body, kitchen knives arranged around her on the bed, just standing there, smiling. When his mother remarried and moved to Tacoma, Ted didn't fit, didn't belong. He was bullied, awkward. He knew nobody liked him, and he decided quietly, methodically, to fix that. He studied politicians on the radio, mimicked their confidence, practiced in mirrors, reverse-engineered charm like a subject he was failing. It worked. By high school, well-liked, well-known. But at night, he was going through neighbors' trash, looking for photographs of women, peeping through windows, reading crime magazines with stories of violence. 2 Teds, one for the world, one for the dark. Ted Bundy, in his 20s, has everything pointed in the right direction. College, ambition, the charm that took years to build. But the charm felt like a costume, and at night when he took it off, something else was there. Something that didn't need to perform. Something that felt more like him than anything the daylight ever gave him. And the fantasies were pressing against the walls. He knew what the next step was. He'd known for a while. He just needed the night to be right. February 1st, 1974. Seattle, 2 a.m. Ted is at a bar near campus. A girl catches his eye. Brown hair, easy smile, vulnerable.
This is the best night.
His eyes light up. He knew exactly what he needed to do. He followed her home, waited for the whole house to go quiet, broke in, knocked her unconscious, dressed her, made her bed before he left, carried her to the car, drove 20 miles to Taylor Mountain, and killed her there. Ted Bundy had just gotten his first taste, and he was just getting started. While Ted was hunting, he was also living. Law school, a social life, a future. At work, he meets a woman, single mother, going through a divorce, vulnerable, warm, funny, she later said. I liked Ted immediately. He struck me as shy, with a lot more going on under the surface. She had no idea how right she was. They fall in love. She moves her son across the country to be closer to him. Ted becomes a stepfather, coaching, helping with homework, warm, the kind of man you'd want raising your kid. Meanwhile, Washington, Oregon, Utah, Colorado, one state after another. Women disappearing at the rate of about 1 a month. He kidnapped them. He killed them. 30 women. While Ted is going to class. While Ted is being a stepfather. while Ted is making everyone around him feel safe. Then he gets arrested in Utah, and the mask finally starts to slip. While Ted Bundy was on trial, in the courtroom library, he convinced the officer on duty that he would call his wife. And while he pretends to do so, he jumps out of a courthouse library window into the street, gone for 8 days before they catch him again. Back in his cell, he starts skipping meals, loses 35 pounds over months. Then, on December 30th, he crawls through a hole in his cell ceiling he'd been quietly cutting for weeks, makes his way through the plumbing, drops into the jailer's empty apartment above. Get dressed, walk out the front door. They don't notice he's gone for 15 hours. By then, he's on a flight to Chicago, then a train, then a bus. 9 days later, Ted Bundy is in Tallahassee, Florida. New name, new city. Nobody knows his face here. He told himself he'd find a job. Stay clean, stay free. He meant it for exactly 1 week. January 15th, 1978, Tallahassee, Florida. A beautiful night. Warm for January. The kind of evening that made people linger outside and leave their windows open. Ted decided to go for a drink. He goes to a bar near campus, drinking alone. The charm that used to pull women across a room isn't working like it used to. He's older now, restless, out of place. Nobody is paying attention to him. And that, for Ted Bundy, is the most dangerous thing in the world. He walks out into the night, picks up a piece of firewood on the way, finds a sorority house with a broken back door, and goes in. 3 a.m. Everyone asleep, room by room. 4 women, 1 hour. He walks out before sunrise. The monster was loose again, but not for long. Years earlier, in Seattle, Ted's girlfriend had already started to worry. She noticed things she couldn't explain. Ted leaving at 2 a.m., sleeping through the day, ropes in the trunk, dried blood on the passenger seat she didn't ask about.
Please, I can explain.
Then a police sketch appeared on the news, a suspect named Ted, and she looked at the drawing and then looked at his VW Beetle, the same car witnesses kept describing. She called the police. "I think it's my boyfriend," she said. They dismissed her. She called again. They dismissed her again. Nobody listened. Years later, on a dark street in Pensacola, Florida, a patrol officer spots a VW Beetle running without headlights. He runs the plates, finds they're stolen, and walks over to ask the driver to step out. Ted kicks his legs out from under him and runs, but gets tackled within seconds, over before it really begins. He spends 2 days in custody under a fake name, still performing, still convinced there's a way out. Then he asks for one thing. One phone call. To the woman who tried to warn them years ago, and for her, he gives them his name.
Theodore Robert Bundy.
The officer stares at him blankly until someone pulls out an FBI flyer and the room goes quiet. Wanted for murder across 5 states, on the 10 most wanted list. After 15 years, Ted Bundy's run was over. Death row. He denies everything for years, still smiling, writing letters to fans, still performing for anyone who will watch. Then, days before his execution, the mask finally comes off. He starts confessing, leading investigators to bodies they never found, calling detectives at midnight with new details, trying to buy one more day, then one more. He was executed on January 24th, 1989, outside the prison. Crowds cheered. People drove hours just to be there. Some brought champagne, some held signs, some just wanted to watch. The man who had fan mail on death row died to a standing ovation. And Ted Bundy took the names of at least 30 women to his grave, 30 families, who never got a real answer. This has been Notorious Minds, and this is Ted Bundy.